Ibrahim Traoré refuses IMF and days later he escaped assassination attempt. In a world where silence is often rewarded and compliance is the currency of diplomacy, one young African leader is rewriting the rules not with fiery speeches or populist slogans, but with a quiet, unwavering no. Since Captain Ibrahim Traoré took power in Burkina Faso 3 years ago, one thing has been consistent. The International Monetary Fund, IMF, has not stopped knocking, not once, not twice, repeatedly with the persistence of a debt collector disguised as a generous friend. Their offer, loans, aid, economic packages, call them what you will, the kind of help that always seems to come with invisible chains and carefully hidden locks. But Traoré won't bite. And that, dear viewers, is not just unusual, it is revolutionary. You see, the IMF doesn't offer loans like a friendly neighbor lending sugar. No. These are high-interest, structurally debilitating economic agreements that often require poor nations to give up vital control over their budgets, their policies, and sometimes even their natural resources. Yet they come dressed in the garb of assistance, debt relief, crisis support, economic stability, all heartwarming words until you read the fine print or try to pay them back. The truth is harsh. For decades, African leaders willingly or otherwise have danced to the IMF's tune. They borrow, they comply, they privatize essential services, they cut spending on healthcare and education, they liberalize trade even when it decimates local industries, and in return, a pat on the head and a vicious cycle of dependency. But Ibrahim Traoré, he's refusing to play. When the IMF came knocking, holding out a shiny promise of billions, he said no, again and again and again. Every time the same polite, defiant answer, "Thank you, but we're not interested." From the perspective of the global establishment, this is outrageous behavior. How dare an African leader reject a Western offer of support? Doesn't he know how the game works? Apparently not. Or maybe, just maybe, he does know, and that's exactly why he won't play. Traoré has said openly that he sees the IMF loan offers for what they are: a baited trap, a subtle form of modern colonization, wrapped in financial jargon. Once you accept the loan, the conditions follow, and once the conditions are in place, the sovereignty evaporates. No wonder they call it soft power. It's soft like velvet, and suffocating like a noose. It's not paranoia, the numbers speak for themselves. Many African nations currently spend more servicing foreign debt than they do on health or education. Ghana, Kenya, Zambia. The list is long. Their economies are groaning under the weight of decades-old IMF and World Bank obligations, some of which were taken under duress, others during crises, and all of which now haunt them. The debt is not just financial, it's political, it's ideological. It forces nations to prioritize investor confidence over citizen welfare. It transforms public officials into economic puppets dancing to foreign tunes. But Ibrahim Traoré has chosen a different route: economic sovereignty. Economic independence is not a dream, it's a right. That's a line Traoré reportedly said in a closed-door cabinet meeting, and it captures the spirit of his leadership. Instead of waiting for crumbs from the global table, Burkina Faso under his leadership is investing in internal development agriculture, local manufacturing, community-based mining operations, and Pan-African partnerships. In short, Africa first, Burkina first. This is not isolationism. It's not nationalism, it's not anti-West, it's pro-dignity. And that's dangerous. Because the moment an African leader rises up and says, "We will build ourselves," he crosses an invisible line. The international press will first ignore him, then ridicule him, then demonize him. And if that doesn't work, well, we've all read the chapters on coups, mysterious illnesses, and spontaneous uprisings. To understand the weight of Traoré's resistance, you must understand how deeply the global system is built on African compliance. From cobalt to cocoa, uranium to cotton, much of the world's wealth rests on African raw materials. But raw materials are not what make a nation rich, value addition is. Africa exports raw gold and imports shiny gold chains. It exports crude oil and imports refined gasoline. It grows cocoa and imports chocolate. This is by design. And the IMF? It plays its role by ensuring that African economies remain structured in ways that benefit others more than themselves. So when a leader like Traore says no to the IMF, he is not just refusing a loan, he is challenging an entire order. He is disrupting a supply chain of control. He is, in effect, declaring war on dependency. That makes him dangerous not to his people, but to the system that profits off their poverty. Let's not pretend this hasn't happened before. Thomas Sankara, Burkina Faso's beloved revolutionary, once refused IMF loans and declared war on corruption and neo-colonialism. He was assassinated. Muammar Gaddafi, despite his flaws, tried to create a pan-African gold-backed currency to rival the dollar and euro. NATO bombed Libya into oblivion. Patrice Lumumba dared to control Congo's own resources. He was eliminated with Western backing. Kwame Nkrumah envisioned a United States of Africa, economically independent. His government was overthrown. It's a dangerous thing, being a visionary in Africa. The world loves an obedient leader, not an independent one. And now, Ibrahim Traoré finds himself walking that same lonely road. But here's the twist. So far, Traoré is still standing. Despite pressure, despite sanctions, despite the constant rumors of destabilization, the young captain remains firm. His people largely support him. His vision is clear. His defiance is inspiring others. Across West Africa, citizens are beginning to ask questions. Why do we keep borrowing? Why do we need validation from Paris, Washington, or Brussels? Why can't we, just for once, try our own way? The questions are growing louder, and that more than any policy or speech is Traoré's real threat. He is waking people up. And a woke populace is far more dangerous to the global order than any gun or army. So what next? History suggests that the global community does not take kindly to leaders who think for themselves. It prefers those who sign deals, smile for the cameras, and deliver speeches written by consultants. Ibrahim Traoré is not that man. The fear is simple. If he succeeds, if Burkina Faso begins to grow without foreign loans, if local industries bloom, if infrastructure develops without debt, then other African nations might follow. And that would be catastrophic. Not for Africa, but for the powers that be. Because it would mean the end of the illusion that only foreign aid can save Africa, that without loans there is no progress, that the West must always lead. So, yes, the real question now is not whether Traoré can govern. It's this: how long before the international community decides that Ibrahim Traoré is a problem that needs fixing? Because they will try. Oh, they will try. And when they do, we must all remember, this is not about governance. This is not about human rights. This is not about development. This is about power. And Traoré, with nothing but his uniform, his people, and his courage, has dared to challenge it. True courage is not found in fighting wars. It is found in refusing to fight someone else's. It is found in standing tall while everyone else kneels. It is found in a young African captain, surrounded by threats, holding fast to a vision that says, "My people are not poor, they are just being robbed." That, in the end, is the heart of it all. Burkina Faso is not rejecting help. It is rejecting manipulation. And that, no matter what the headlines say, is not a crime. It's a revolution.